always, I'm not sure if I'm answering the question, but I'm always looking at, different studies, different beliefs by this expert and this consultant. At the time, that consultant just closed his restaurant because it didn't work out, and now he's a consultant. He knows better. You ever read any of those things? All the time.
If you're a restaurant consultant, it seems like all of them.
Used to run it.
Used to run it.
Do you use like Google Analytics or anything like that to, traffic to your website, what pages they're hanging out on?
We do. We use that a lot. I look at Yelp a lot and their analytics, and especially if we do some advertising on Yelp to make sure it's really paying off. And I can't tell you if it does or not. I think it might. But we're numbers people. We're always looking at the numbers, looking for new ideas, especially with the email blasts. Do you blast every day? Is that what you said?
Every day.
You do?
Especially. Yeah. Click the cow. We'll blast you tomorrow. 50,000.
We're always looking at, and we don't blast every day, but we blast oftentimes twice a week, which most analysts will tell us that's too much. We don't do it too often. But then I look at what Domino's and Pizza Hut, these guys are blasting every single day. Our dropout rate is very minimal, 0.02%. It's a handful of people. So I guess, but also the click-throughs are minimal. We get about 10% click-throughs on our blast, which is actually really good compared to national average. I think it's single digit. But we're trying not to overdo it, and we're looking at some new strategies with our email blast because we built this large list to use it a little bit more conservatively.
Christine's going to have a great answer. We actually we're in the process actually of bringing in new brand analytics. Right? Okay. So I mean, this is not a marketing thing, and it's very, it's decently, everything has its price, but to help us actually, crunch a lot of things going on. Definitely look, every time Yelp wants to sell me ads, I make them show me the analysis. We've learned a ton from it. I know my partner and I, Ellen Chen, totally understand now that people really are on their mobile phones, where we would normally assume that they're on their computers, because when we started, we were office-based, really catering for, law firms and accounting firms. And now really people are just looking for our phone number, you know what I mean? And when you go onto our mobile side, it's not that way. So in the next 6 months, when you go to Mendocino Farms on your mobile phone, totally different interface based on, the data that actually Yelp has provided us. Without mine. But yeah, so we were looking at that, and then every post that we do on Facebook, we're constantly crunching, how many people, are taking a look at it and looking at those as well. So it's relevant.
Let's see. I was just looking at our website analytics. We use Google Analytics just to track our web data, and the interesting thing is that other than just going to our website directly or organic Google searching, third highest number of referrals that come to our Tender Greens website is from Yelp. It's just crazy because I hate Yelp. Cannot stand it. It drives me insane. And we've went to the town hall. We've talked to them. We've talked to ads. And I think in talking to the owners, we've decided, okay, there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many resources that we can handle. And there's only so many things that we can do. Do we want to put our resources towards Yelp? I mean, we still have 4-star reviews. We're doing pretty good. We keep an eye on it. We track it. We log in. We make sure. And I think instead of really making sure we're finding every single thing, we're trying to track trends. Because there are trends that you can see. Like, okay, someone's always complaining about the same, tuna salad every time. Well, okay, so and it's one particular location, and that's actually what New Brand Analytics says. Like, we don't use them, but I really like their service. It's kind of great. I'm not paying to say this. I just really like them. But they're like a grading. They're a letter system, and you can see trends across the board. And I think that's the idea. We don't want to sit here and nitpick every single tiny individual person's uninformed review that may or may not be on Yelp because.
How do you really feel about it?
You should hear Eric's spiel. It's even worse. But it's and I think each person's opinion is valid, but with only so many hours in the day and 12 restaurants and growing and all of our time is spent, is that one thing a good use of our time? Yes or no? So we kind of take it on a case-by-case basis. And social media is a really tough beast to wrap your mind around in terms of number analytics. There's not a good way to measure. You measure it in terms of followers. Do you assign a dollar value to how much does those followers cost? How much is a Facebook like? That's a really hard question to answer. So what we've really decided to do is think about content and quality and authenticity. Are we having authentic conversations with people? Are they visiting? How many interactions are we having? You can see how many Facebook likes and people are responding and retweeting. We don't get too obsessed with the numbers of how many followers, and ironically, I love that you guys both have huge email newsletters. We decided not to, so we actually don't have an e-newsletter at all. And we made this decision. We just revamped our entire website, and we decided, okay, yes or no. We had a big conversation, and we decided not to do an e-blast. And sometimes I wish we did, because I want to share information and I don't have it, so I use other channels. Different Facebook local pages are great resources, but you then have to go manage those pages. But I think for us, we decided, do our customers want to get an email from us? Where do they get their information, and how else can we reach them? So for right now, we don't have an e-blast list. One of our locations does for their Hollywood beer gardens, but that's about it.
All right, 2 more questions.
I have a question. Would you recommend to advertise on Yelp? The guy keeps calling me every single fucking day, and he's like, and then he sends me the price, and it's like, I have the 2,000. I said, I already spent a lot of money on my PR company, and he's like, I have the 2,000, I have the 700, I have 500. It's like, would you recommend to advertise on Yelp? Because like I said, it's just a love-hate relation. But at the end of the day, I still want to have my restaurant popping every single time somebody else. My issue with Yelp, it's like, when I'm checking on my phone, I use Yelp as much as I hate it. And every time I do a search, it appears like on top, sponsor. And I always look at those sponsored restaurants, and I was like, shitty restaurant. It's like when you have a restaurant, it's like when you see a restaurant on Groupon, it's like dead sentence. When you see a restaurant on Groupon, it's like, man, I feel really sad for that guy. But I'm saying, how many times have you guys go to a Groupon restaurant? I don't go. I'll go, but I will not buy the Groupon. I will go and support the restaurant. But I'm saying, you really think it's worth to advertise on Yelp at the end of the day?
Who wants to take that?
It's very simple, yes or no?
We decided no.
Okay.
We got the same phone calls, we got the same, and you see whatever you want to believe about Yelp, and your reviews getting pushed, and then they say that they don't, and there's no way that they control it, whatever, I don't care. The point is that at Tender Greens, we don't pay for advertising. We believe in PR, we believe in word of mouth, social media. We don't pay for advertising except on very, very...
Who's your PR company?
Murphy O'Brien PR, which I used to work at. But I mean, we handle everything in-house. We decided we just don't want to advertise on Yelp. It's not valid. It's not how we want to spend our dollars. If we have X amount of dollars to spend, we consider where do we want to put it. Do we want to put it into advertising, or do we want to put it back into our people and back into the restaurants?
When you say back to our people, what do you mean?
Is there training that we can give to a
Oh,
restaurant?
like
Is
employees.
there- Is there something else that we can put, a physical thing in the restaurant? Is it a piece of marketing? A sign in the restaurant makes a huge difference. I've been trying to get them to put our social media on the front of the signs for the longest time. So thinking about it like that, we decided not to.
At the end of the day, and it's not to bash to advertising, we actually look at Yelp as an incredible resource. Unlike Tender Greens, we go through every single Yelp review, good or bad, and we truly believe, besides a few absolutely totally crazy people, which are very rare, some of the angry people, there's actually nuggets of wisdom in there that we definitely pull and discuss. And we actually on a weekly meeting discuss in our operations if there were any nuggets that people went through when we went through them. We have multiple people go through them. We've learned so much from our guests, either being upset with us, but even ones that are complimenting us, but we pull from those nuggets. So we have an incredible relationship with Yelp, which makes us kind of feel like, wow, should we pay them, right, for having this great site? I feel like now, once they have this IPO, went out, they've made all this money that we don't need to give them anymore. At the end of the day, it's that credibility. It's like really like people are here to judge. I think it's an interesting, flawed model, right? Because here's a great place for people to really talk about you, but now it doesn't look like it's an adulterated, relationship. So we're still really, having concerns that relationship could get sullied for us to participate financially in a place that we're kind of harvesting. So that's our dynamic.
No?
So no.
I'm the only one that advertises anything. The way we look at it is, for what we pay in Yelp, if I can pick up 2 customers, they order 26 times a year, every other week, which most of our customers order at least that or more, and they spend at least $10, which is half of our average ticket. I paid for that 1 month of advertising, and I know I'm getting that. I'm in the hundreds of click-throughs, people using Yelp as a phone number, a source for a phone number. More people are using Yelp to find my product than Google or any other search engine out there. So if you ask me, as much as I hate to say it, y'all should do something. Because it will make, I believe with the right product, and we're the right product because we're a dial-in business. We want people to call us or click through to our website. It's money well worth it.
Yelp's our number one way that people find our website as well.
So if you can increase that because it goes to the top, and we have some tough markets that we've come into in Hollywood and West Hollywood in the last several months where there's 40 pizza places within 3 square miles, not 5 square miles, which obviously in LA is huge. But just be careful how you set it up because you can target those ads, you can narrow your ring down, you really got to push it and make sure that you, like for us, we're not delivering 4 miles away from our store, it's just too far. So I don't want those ads getting used up going further out. So bring it into that 1 or 2 mile range as best you can. But what you're saying as far as how they work with you,
No, I'm saying, is it worth it at the end of the day?
is it worth it? I'm telling you, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Good ROI.
I believe it is, but just like I have billboards around LA, I can measure Yelp more than I can a billboard, and I spend a lot more money on that billboard. I got a lot more eyes looking at it. So part of marketing is really not knowing exactly what it's doing for you, especially in my business where I don't say bring in this coupon you just printed. That's a great way to measure ROI. But that also costs you a lot more.
Okay.
And as far as the dealing with the sales guys, I'd bring the mafia back. Because they're worse. Yelp is worse. At least, they're horrendous. They're very difficult.
Alto Mafia?
And it doesn't end. So once you become a
No, I'm saying, I love when they call me. It's like my stress reliever. I just fucking, I get everything else. Like, you fucking dick, how you dare to tell me like your company wants to work with me?
Alright.
Anyways.
I'm gonna ask 2 more quick questions, and then we'll open it up to a quick Q&A. Quick question number 1: who is your